Hello, and welcome to Commissioner Carr. I am Dustin Zarney, Democratic Elections Commissioner for Onondaga County. Today is Tuesday, December 6th, and we're celebrating the end of the hand count for SD 50. Earlier today, we were able to complete our hand count of 95,214 ballots. These were the ballots that were either on Election Day, early, absentee, affidavits, unscanned emergencies, all of that for New York Senate District 50. If you haven't been following along, this is an ultra-close race. This district spans two counties, Oswego and Onondaga County, and the district was within 55 votes, or 51 votes, depending on what your source is for the recount. What has happened over the last few weeks, or a few days, a week, it's been a long time, is that both Oswego County and Onondaga County have meticulously gone through every paper ballot and hand-determined the tally for the races. Now, Onondaga County finished our physical inspection of the ballots today. And with a big hunt for one ballot at the very end of the day. And I'll get into that in a second because it's a fun story. But we finished our physical inspection, and tomorrow we are double checking all of our numbers, crossing tallies, all of that, and all of the objections that were made, and preparing documents for court so they can decide the final decisions on this race. And we will release those numbers to you, the public, and the parties as well as soon as it's done. What we'll release, though, is the Onondaga County portion. Oswego County is still hand counting. Now, I have talked to a few people today about that. I haven't talked to the Oswego County Commissioner today, but Laura Brazak and I have been talking. She's the Democratic commissioner up there. They believe they're going to be done sometime tomorrow, maybe the next day. So by the end of this week, both counties will be done with the hand counts and have a report to the judge of what we have found. And then between the two counties, there's going to be 100, 150 objections that the court is going to have to rule on. And if the court rules on these objections, and once they're done ruling on each individual objection, we will then recertify the results for New York Senate District 50. Now, I talked about the hunt for one ballot, and I want to tell you what happened, because I think it's a kind of an amusing story, but it's also a testament to the hard work that election staff will do to make sure that we can account for every single ballot that was cast on Election Day. When we finished our hand count and our reconciliation for this SD50 race, we found one ballot was missing out of Clay Election District 25. We started combing through all the ballots. Onondaga County split into two different Senate districts, Senate District 48 and Senate District 50. We had segregated the ballots from each Senate district, and we were starting to go through all of the Senate District 48 ballots, about 80,000 ballots, to find this one ballot that was unaccounted for. And all of this was done under the watchful eyes of the observers and the campaigns, as well as in bipartisan teams. So there was no ability to try to change it. But you may say, well, why one ballot? Well, with only 50 votes, one ballot could make the difference. But also, that's our job. Our job is to account for as many, for our work. And for every ballot should be accounted for through the chain of custody from the boards. But that doesn't necessarily always mean that they get put back right. So when we're hand sorting 95,000 ballots, sometimes they may be put into the wrong election district. And that's what we found. We found the ballot in the Cicero 25 election district bin. It was missed by our teams who counted the first time. But when our bipartisan teams went through it's actually probably the third time at this point, they found the Clay 25 ballot. They were able to recount the Cicero 25 election district, and everything balanced out. And that was about 3 o'clock today. I can tell you there was a huge cheer in the counting room because we had already started to go through all of SD 48, all of the 80,000 ballots there, looking for this one ballot that might have been misfiled there, but it ended up being in Cicero 25, which is also part of Senate District 50. And what it does is it shows us that everything is accounted for. That, our staff, our election workers work well together, that the polling inspectors follow the instruction, and that this hand count was successful. We were able to determine the posts. We were able to determine the ballot and where it was and who accounted for it. And now there have been changes in this hand count because we found ballots that were thrown out because somebody wrote on the ballot. We found ballots that were kept that were counted as blanks because the markings were too light. All of these things happened, and we made rulings on those throughout the 6 days that we were hand counting. We will definitely release numbers tomorrow about what the changes were, and I believe when we release those numbers, then that will show that there really wasn't much change in the race in Onondaga County. We're talking about maybe single digits, low single digits in a net for one candidate or the other. When we get that done tomorrow, we will release that. You'll see that both candidates picked up votes. Both candidates lost a couple votes, and it just kind of evened out. We'll see what those votes are tomorrow once our teams are done verifying all of our tallies. Once that is done, we then will also verify all the objections made, scan in and prepare those copies of the ballots, give them to the judge and all the parties. And sometime early next week, especially if Oswego is done either tomorrow or Friday, we will see a court date where the judge will look at all of the 100 or so, maybe 150 or so ballots that were objected to, and make determinations on what they actually are, whether the objections are valid or invalid, and if the candidates' votes count or don't count. And then we will have a final number, and that number will be certified with the State Board of Elections. We'll recertify the Senate District 50, and we will have a winner. So speaking of certification, move on to some other topics here. We have certified the general election ballot. It is not on our website at Onondaga County Board of Elections. Our vendor is working on a technical issue to get that on our website, but we expect to have that on our website sometime tomorrow. Once we are on the website, once it's on the website, I'll do a post, and then we'll have to, once the judge is done, recertify the SD50 portion. So the certification that will be on our website at onvote.net will be the pre-hand count certification for SD50, but all the other races won't change, because when you're doing a hand count, you don't change the ballots for everybody else. It's only for that race. So we will do that and probably recertify next week. Big election news has happened today, and it all kind of came late. And I'm not talking about Georgia, although that's happening tonight too. A bill that I was a champion of and wanted to get passed, the wrong church bill, was signed by Governor Hochul. This means that if you show up at a polling place and you fill out an affidavit ballot, your ballot, if you're at the wrong polling place but you're otherwise registered, your ballot will count for the races you are eligible to vote in. Outside of voters who are just not registered at all, when it comes to affidavit ballots, the showing up at the wrong polling place is the number one reason for affidavits to get thrown out. We probably had, out of the 200 or so ballots that were thrown out for affidavits this year, about half of those were wrong polling place. So this will save those votes. It'll be for next year. It's effective next year, not this year. But, sorry, Governor Hochul signed that today. It's a big win. That's something that many of us have been fighting for. You may say, well, what's, 100 ballots here or something like that. It was probably 25,000 ballots statewide. But you see, we have these really close races. People will have their votes registered. And a lot of times, people are showing up at the wrong polling place that is just a couple blocks down the street. They're voting on the same ballot, but yet because of either error by the poll worker not telling them where to go, or they show up at the last minute and they don't have time to get to the other polling place, their vote is going to count, and we can then register them correctly and send them a card to go to the right polling place next time. But their vote will count. Big news. Very happy that bill was signed. And then a decision that was just made today, a state judge has thrown out the map in neighboring Broome County. That is just down around the Binghamton area. Their county legislature map was thrown out. Well, what does that mean for Onondaga County's redistricting case? Well, we don't know. We'll have to read the decision and see if it's something. But right now, we're waiting for a decision from Judge Lamondola on the redistricting issue. The county has tried to throw out our redistricting lawsuit on a technicality. We feel very confident that their technicality claim is false, and then hopefully we'll get into a trial on that sometime next year. But we'll have to wait and see what the judge says in his decision on the technicality that most of the experts believe is kind of just the first step. We're gonna we'll eventually have to try this case on the merits. So, but this Broome County decision does show that the Harkin Rider decision and the new redistricting law does apply to county level maps as well, and so that is good news, and it's definitely good news for the residents of Broome County who had an illegal gerrymandered Republican map, and now they are forced to go back to the table, and maybe this time they'll negotiate instead of trying to ram through a partisan map. And I think that's what we were wanting in Onondaga County as well, or a special master. There's also a federal lawsuit being filed today in Monroe County because they have not come to a redistricting decision for their legislature map for their races next year, and which they don't even have a past map because the parties are at loggerheads. So we'll have to see whether that federal lawsuit will put in a special master in place for Monroe County. It's a different type of lawsuit, but we'll see where it goes. But that's other news. So that's Commissioner and Carr for this week. Stay tuned for election results for SD50. That'll be tomorrow for Onondaga County, and we'll finally hopefully get a news about a court date sometime early next week, and we can put election 22 to bed once and for all. Until then, stay safe, enjoy December, because we're now in December, and hopefully I will see you with my Zoom with Zarni this week with Susan Lerner. That'll be airing on Thursday, so in the intro for my Zoom with Zarni, I'm sure I'll have news about SD50, and now that we are finally certified for Onondaga County, I hope to get back to my weekly wonk this weekend, starting with early voting, and that will go through my 4 or 5 looks back at the general election. That'll go through, and I may even do a special weekly wonk about the hand count because there's a lot of interesting data on that as well. But I got to wait for it to be over. All right, you take care. Enjoy your day and your loved ones, and thank you so much for being patient with us at the Board of Elections. And I'm very happy that we have finally finished the hand count, and now we can start moving on to 2021. Okay, David, you had a question about Trump, and I will answer that by saying, see my post about it. I did a post on Sunday about that. Pretty detailed post, got a lot of likes. So check that out, because I've said all I'm going to say about the former guy and his ridiculous notion of ripping up the Constitution. So check that out. It's pinned to my Twitter profile and my Facebook page. Check that out, because that says all I'm going to say about the former president and his wish to continue his election denialism. All right, now I'm done. All right, bye-bye.